Okay, folks, good morning. Back at the model building table, and we're going to do a dive here in the Panzer IIIGs that we received yesterday from Plastic Soldier Company. There's 3 of them in here, and we're going to attempt to knock all 3 of them out this morning. We did a lot of model building last night, and we were really successful. So we're going to build one first, and then we'll turn around and build the other 2. Now, you can actually build a Panzer IIIG or an H out of here, and according to the instructions, the only difference is the idler wheels that you choose to use on it, or the they're different, but I've got my trusty squadron signal. Oh, this is flipped. Why does it default to being flipped? Bastards. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, my trusty Panzer III squadron signal book, and I'm gonna keep this handy just in case we need to use this for any kind of references. But the difference in the idler wheel should be something along the lines of this, just to keep it simple. This is the Panzer IIIG, this one right here. And you've got one that looks like it's got a bunch of little holes on there, and almost like a star pattern. And the later one is more hollow here at the back and more oblong size holes. So that as opposed to that one up there. So I am probably going to make all 3 of them Gs. And I don't know if there's any other differences. According to the kit, that's the only thing that's different on them. Made a lot more G's than H's. There's a difference on the track too as well. And there's applique armor. That's what I thought. I thought there was a difference. The big difference is the applique armor on the H. Almost kind of the same way that they did. Not necessarily standoff armor, but it's actually welded on there. So similar to the way that the Panzer IV-D got up-armored to the Panzer IV-E by adding the extra plates on the front. So we're going to take a look at the front. If it doesn't look like it has this applique, we're definitely going to make them Gs. Because it's kind of a standout thing for it. And, it's not a big deal, but, it would be nice to be, accurate. Or as accurate as we could be. Okay, so let's set this off to the side. And go from there. Let's pull one of these screws out. I'm going to go ahead and grab the screw that already has the pieces taken out. And I did an unboxing video on this last night. You can check it out if that interests you. Otherwise, I'm going to be spilling the beans here on my own thing. So let's take the photocopied instructions, and it's asking you to build a turret first. Oh, very, very strange. Okay. I like to build one in case there's some special thing I figure out along the way. And let's take a look at that hull plate and see if it has the applique armor or not. Does not look like it has the extra armor. So if they're telling you can build an H with this, then you can, but it's just the idler wheels. So this is just a G model as far as I'm concerned. It's got 2 tank commanders. One of these will be open. And he's different than the tank commander that we did here on the Czech 38. That's good, because I wanted the field cap ones. The guys wearing field caps were more common than the ones wearing the visor type helmets. So the one that has the tank commander, we're going to use this figure here. And we'll try them out. This actually gives you an option to have the cupola either open or closed. And it's all one piece, so you don't have to worry about gluing those little doors on there precariously and having them fall out at the least opportune time. So that's kind of cool. All right. So we're going to make all three of these Gs because this isn't really an H model. Because there's no applique armor on the front. Right? Unless I'm missing it. Yeah, I don't see it. A G it is, which was what I was leaning towards anyways. So, okay. It's telling me to build a turret first. How very strange. Well, let's follow instructions, and after we've done it their way once, then we can kind of go our own way. Cue the soundtrack. All right. Use our nippers here. We did a lot of tank building yesterday. A lot. How many did I do? 2. Well, we did 6. We did 6 in like 4 hours. And we weren't rushing. And honestly, it's the cleanup that takes more than anything else. You do want to clean these things up as well good as you can, just for good measure. Now, these are some of the best fitting kits I've ever seen. It's really amazing. Now, somebody had told me that this is a little oversized, meaning it's more like 1/71st scale or something like that. I'm not going to let it bother me. I just wanted to kind of comment that, you know, hey, that could be the case. And it's unusual because this does not have the locking mechanism for the turret. It just kind of sits in there, which doesn't bother me any. I know some people are fanatic about that kind of stuff and wanting the tank turret not to fall off if it gets picked up, but not that big of a deal for me. We need side doors, 2 of those. Yep. And it's very important that you put those in the right order. They have 2 different visor things on them, and you got to make sure you put the correct one in the right direction. So I'm actually not going to trust the instructions on that, not because they're wrong, but that's an easy thing to overlook. I've seen other people overlook it in other kits that they've built, so I don't want the wrong thing glaring at me. We're going to build the standard one. We'll do the commander one next. So the standard one has the cupola, which is the same. And we better use some precision for this. We don't want to botch this up. And I like to cut the way it's the most supported so you don't put extra strain on this thing. And I don't know if you notice, but one of these, it's not completely symmetrical. One of these actually has, see if I can point it out. I don't know if it's in focus here because I'm not in focus. I can't see the computer's. This has a little dot right here. One edge, and it isn't over here. So we'll make sure we put this face in the correct way. And let's cut the barrel out first. Ooh, it's already flexing there. Damn it, man. There we go. I just want to cut the pieces that are under the most tension or most likely to break. This isn't going to break at the back. Now, one thing I didn't notice this until I built the Panzer IIIG with the short barrel, is that the short barrel Panzer III is actually a really short barrel. It looks, I don't remember it being this short, but it is. It is only 42 caliber, so it's not a super long gun. And what else? We got the rear turret thing. Okay, that's all the turret pieces. Okay, let's do that together here. What else do we have here? Our sanding thing. I stayed up way too late last night with just the power of Coke Zero, and then I couldn't go to sleep. I tossed and turned for about probably an hour, so we'll see how groggy I really feel today. And even being careful, when I cut this off of the thing, it's still, might have to fill a tiny little bit here. It's probably not even noticeable after I paint it. Maybe I won't do it, but I try cutting away from this when I take it off of the sprue. And then take the last little bit off, sanding it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I try to do as about as good a job as I can. Mr. Ben, welcome. Welcome to the land of Plastic Soldier Company. Not much to do. Cura finally got everything back to stock. Have 50. Yeah, I saw that. Assholes. Yeah, I won't be getting their stuff anytime soon. And it's not because of them. It's just, you know, my interest in 2023 isn't 15 mil. I am going to do 15 mil in the future. It isn't. I'm not going to be doing it for DBA, but I'm going to be doing it for in the future. Or I'm not going to be doing it for DBA 3.0. Or any previous version of, you know, if they come out with a DBA 4.0, I might play that, but. Well, that's not necessarily true, because if I do build other armies, they will be the 3.0 armies. It's just not really interested in the game. So we did play the other day, but, you know, we're not playing DBA, working on my own stuff, and who knows what'll happen with that. It's not really where I have my heart set right now, but it went well. Okay. All right, there's the bottom. Superb fit, just unbelievably superb fit. Yeah, if they had not put their stuff out of production, I would have ended up getting the Scots, you know, the Scots guys that I need, and just not done anything with them. Just like I picked up the figures for the Army of Granada and Medieval Spanish at Historicon last year. And they're sitting there. I'm not going to sell them. I will do them eventually. I'm not motivated to do things for a convention, on a convention schedule. So I want to be irresponsible like many of you, and just go to a show and have fun and have no responsibilities. So matter of fact, this coming year, I'm not going to Historicon. Not for any other reason that I just don't have enough vacation time. And usually use it for other stuff. I got a guy that has been wanting me to play in his game at one of our shows, But the problem is that he doesn't list his game until after I had already made the schedule of games I was running. So, you know, I'm already committed to playing other things and haven't been able to play his game. And that won't be the case next convention because I'm not running anything. So I should be able to play his game. Okay. Let's get close. Let's not get all the way up to this, and we can fine tune it afterwards. Yeah, the 15mm Co UK just took too long to. I'm not 15mm Co UK, sorry. 15mm QRF just took too long to get up off the ground. Well, we're building all this stuff, and then we'll do a batch paint. Just don't want to go back and forth between the two things. All right, what do we got here? Well, I caught the camera this morning, defaulted to being a reverse image. I don't know when it started doing that, but I caught it this time. I remember how to fix it quickly so I didn't get scolded, so I didn't look like an idiot. Hey, I can look like an idiot on my own. I don't need the camera to do it for me. Let's be careful with that because we don't want this showing. Or having to repair it because that takes time out of doing stuff. Okay, so this model of all the Plastic Soldier Company ones I've seen, which isn't a huge amount, has the most flash. Still, this is so much better than doing things out of resin. Or white metal. Let's see if we can take this. They're not a huge deal, but if we can do a better job, let's do it. So the stuff that came in was this order I talked about maybe a few weeks ago that I had placed with this company. December 12th, and never got a response from them. They never sent me the stuff. I emailed them multiple times, used their system online to communicate with them. They said they would respond between 24 to 48 hours. Nothing from them. Maybe the owners are dead. I mean, that would be a good reason, I guess. But short of that, and it's a company that has a very legitimate looking website. And for the first time in my life, I'm going to have to dispute a credit card charge. I've never had to do that in my life, ever. I mean, you know, businesses are in business to give you business, you know, and especially hobby stuff, they definitely rely on word of mouth. So, and there's very limited of us nerd burglars that do this type of thing to really alienate the few people that buy your products. It's not like you can piss off some people that go to, you know, Best Buy or something like that, you know, a place that, you know, normal people would go to, you could frequent. Now, hobby stuff is we're very limited, those of us that do this kind of thing. So generally, this is the new one. Let's not use that one just yet. We use that one for only the tip for the barrels. It's an unusual experience that I've had. So this is basically the stuff that I reordered over the holidays from 4 different vendors to get the stuff to kind of make up for what I had ordered from this company. The only thing that's different is that this company was advertising that they had everything that says in stock. Well, that's why I ordered it. And I don't know whether they're out of business and they're, you know, and they're not checking their emails or what have you, or they're waiting to get the orders in before they order it from their distributors. I don't really know what the deal is, but they happen to have the Pegasus kit of the KV1 and the KV2 together, which is very hard to find, apparently. And you get one of each. Actually, you get 2 hulls and then 2 turrets of each. So I was planning on building them. So the turrets are interchangeable. I don't need that. I don't need 2 KV2s, really. So, actually, I think there is one scenario in the skirmish campaigns that has 2 KV2s. But anyways, I wasn't able to get that, so I substituted something else in its place. But that's what came in between yesterday and the day before. But it's unusual to have that experience. I've never had that experience in anything I've done. And I've done a lot of ordering of things. Disputing a credit card claim. So, reminds me of Black Tree and their year-long turnarounds for some orders. Well, did they communicate with you? Because the owners of this company could be dead. I mean, I don't wish them to be dead. I just want them to let me know what's going on, you know? I mean, it could happen. But then, I read about this company like a day after I made my order. And it's just horror stories. It's horror stories from, you know, they don't respond to their emails. We never got my stuff. I had to get my money back. They will run like 6 different companies under different names. Their website is looks good, looks legitimate. So I'm going to give them another day and we'll, I don't want to do a video on blasting, hey, these people suck, because I don't know what the situation is. I don't want to make a video that I have to make a video saying I apologize. I'm not making apologetic videos, so in order to do that, you know, you need to not go out on a limb and be, you know, an extremist. But I don't want people to lose their money or have a bad experience with these folks, you know. Even with eBay, I've only had 2 bad experiences and thousands of transactions. And neither one of them involved not getting my stuff. So, or no communication. All right, let's see how this guy goes together here. Well, we know that fits on there well. Ah, my favorite part. The turret storage thing on the back. I hate German tanks without this. Doesn't look right. Never had a problem. Seemingly everyone else has. They run weekly sales, which I think what they have casted up, and if you order something not on sale, you wait until they get to them. Black Tree is the 28 mil company, right? Black Tree Design, does that sound right? Yeah, just be upfront with your customers. You know, it just saves a lot of trouble. If there's a problem, you know, get ahead of it. Otherwise, it just makes you look bad, and they might have legitimate reasons why they're doing it. You know, I'm sure it's a side hustle for them. I don't know. Are there people trying to make their living selling hobby stuff? I hope not. Yeah, that's hard to see. Is that completely flush? See, we got our contacts out, so we got supervision right now. Okay, now that's good. Gotta be flush. I was gonna get some of those sanding sticks, but I don't see any advantage. Just like files, it took me forever to get a set of files. I never use them. They can't get to where you need to be. They can't get in there. I got small ones, didn't matter. The stuff we're working on is really, really small. Figured, they'd be useful to grind these things off. Black Tree Designs, 28 mil, World War II historical fantasy. Doctor Who. Think the owner has some health issues, but it's been going on for years. Yeah. Who's the slowest ordering guy? Oh, the guy that the guy that ended up taking over John Roberts ended up taking over the Roundway, and even before COVID, he was he had health issues, so hopefully he's doing okay. But I would have ordered more stuff from him if he was around, if he was communicative. I love Roundway stuff. But you got to answer people's emails. You know, you can't leave people hanging because they just expect the worst. Okay. Now, one mistake I made on these turret things is, and I didn't discover it until I did one of the models and it didn't fit. I thought it was flush, but if I remember correctly, the back actually sticks up a little higher than the turret. So I'm going to check my photo references and see if that's the case on here. This one looks like it would fit flush nicely. So we'll see if that's the case, and we'll see if we can tell one of the edges of the hatch being any different than the other. We can put that little dot on it. And oh look, it's a gun mount that doesn't go up and down. Who cares? A lot of people value that a lot more than I think that they should. Unless you're making some kind of a diorama where they're shooting at aircraft or something. Pretty much straight levels about where you want to be. All right, let's look at our photo references while that dries a little bit, while that welds itself. Where's my glasses so I can find myself? There we go. What were we looking for? Oh, the top hatch. That's a different cupola. I might have to look at the model. Yeah, the H has the applique armor on the front hull. This doesn't have it. This isn't an H. This is a G with the option for H idler wheels and sprocket wheels. Damn it. Which is, you know, fine. I didn't buy it because of that. I was probably going to make them G's anyways. All right, let's see if we can go online and figure out which way it is, because I'm sure this does not give you, heck, it didn't even show it. We don't want that facing the wrong way. If it makes a difference, it may not make a difference at all. Let's see what we got here. Let's do a search for Panzer IIIG, nope, one more one, 3G, God, that's a hard word to spell, cupola. Okay. Okay, so that represents almost like a little lock that's on there. All right, so which one is the lock face? This is one for a 1/16 tank. Does it face forward? Which would be my guess. Cupola. I always called it cupola. I could be wrong. Okay, here's one. It faces right rear. Okay, fair enough. Talk about anal retentive. Okay. Hey, I don't want to have any regrets. Oh, and what I forgot to check. The turret bin. Is it flush or stick up a little bit? Looks like it sticks up a little bit. Yep. Okay. Perfect. We're going to put the cupola on there first. Okay. One of these is forward. Make sure they're all the same. They are all the same. So you want one of the forward, one of the sides, the other ones are the quarters. So you want to have a kind of like a American star. You want to have the point facing forward, and then there's not one that's truly back. They're at funny angles like that. So we're going to go ahead and glue this in. Make sure we're aligned correctly. Okay, now let's see where the spots is, where this grabs. See if we can get away with doing this. Sticks up a little higher than it really needs to on this model, but it does. Perfect. It's even. You don't want one that's... And then this thing sits like so. Make sure that's aligned. And it is. Okay. And there's the turret. And man, the barrel looks really short. I'm not saying it's wrong, it just looks really short. Okay, side doors. Not even gonna look at those illustrations. We're gonna look at I am gonna look at them, and then I'm gonna make sure they're correct. According to this, it looks like there's a tall and narrow one, and that one goes towards the back. Okay, let's see if that's correct. It is. Okay. We have all these references. You might as well use them. I've had this stuff for 30 years, back when I used to do 1/35th scale stuff. I only built one Panzer III, yet I got the book for it. Panzer III M from Tamiya. Tamiya? We call it Tamiya before, but I guess it's Tamiya. Tamiya or Tamiya? I don't know. I've said it Tamiya so many times, it's going to be really hard to get that out of my system. Same thing we used to call that company, Italieri, even though it's probably Italeri. Pretty cold this morning, actually. What is it? Pretty cold in the house. 36 outside, Fahrenheit. Yeah, so it's probably 60 in the house. Maybe even colder than that. Not a complaint, just an observation. I'll take free air conditioning any chance I can get. Let's check for fit. Ah, you tried to screw me, didn't you? Okay, so not only do you have to be conscious, not only do you need to be conscious that this piece goes towards the back. In other words, like this, because the door is open both ways. But you got to make sure that, see how this periscope, there's a taller portion. Actually, I don't know if I can get in here close enough. There's one portion of this periscope that has more meat above it than the other one, and that's the top. So this is the top portion of the periscope. So this is the hatch for this side, not the one from the other one. You don't want the periscopes backwards. And it doesn't tell you any of that stuff in the instructions. That's just, I knows. Oh, look at that. We forgot our fitting. We got so excited about finding that there's no reason why this shouldn't fit properly. Same thing on the other side. And that will knock this turret out. Okay. Let's compare this to a turret to the Panzer IIIG from Unimodel. That is complete. This one should be bigger. The tank is overscale. Yeah, not significantly so. Damn it, man. And I sanded this thing down so it'd come off easier. Yeah, it's bigger. Not hugely so, but the hatch is a lot bigger. The hatch is a lot bigger. Yeah. Doesn't bother me. It's a war game model. Not building a diorama. We'll keep her out. We might need to do some other comparisons while we're out. Okay. Turret done. What does it think I should do next? Running gear. I bet there's not a locator for the turret escape, the hull escape hatches, is there? I bet you money there isn't. There is. I love it when I'm wrong. Perfect. All right, let's cut those things off. Okay, we're gonna need. We better be careful with this. Let's cut way away from this. We don't want to have to repair this track if we don't need to. When I was a kid, first you start off by just breaking the pieces off. Then you get a little older and use an X-Acto knife, but you want to cut it right at the piece, so you don't have to trim it again. And then you realize, just get the thing out and then trim it. It's evolution of how you do things. The hull's going to come out soon enough. That was going to break off on its own. Something therapeutic about doing this. What else do we need? The side escape things. Okay. We better use this. You know, for a country that was always short of fuel, they sure got jerry cans everywhere. I guess if you're doing a North Africa one, you can... Okay, we're going to do the early ones. Which are these? Which are the rounded ones? You could use them for water in North Africa. Even when I had to build some of those Panzer IVs with those 16 idler wheels on each side, 16 road wheel sides, it wasn't that big of a deal. It's just understand some things are just going to take a while. Okay, I still running gear for this one. Let's clean this up. This should all be hidden, so I don't need to be fanatical about cleaning this up. Although even with a borderline toy, it still has some details on the bottom of the hull there, so including the, almost looks like an oil filler. Need oil change, pull that thing out. I'm sure that's not what it's for, but reminds me of that oil cap on a car. Okay, this is the back. This should go like this. I mean, none of these pieces are flexed. I remember putting those Eschi models together. And this hull would be multiple pieces. You would have this side panel would be one, and would be another one here, and you're lucky if this and the one that's up at an angle is all one piece. But then you get one of these side pieces that's flexed over a little bit. You know, tie this thing together with rubber bands, and that was a nightmare as a kid. You know, kids don't want to do all those steps. They want to just put the shit together and play with them. These are... Okay, so it's oversized a little bit. The fit on these things is incredible. Really, really good. They're for wargaming, and that's what we're going to do. That's what the intention is. Okay, those two sides are good. Let's clean up the escape hatch. which supposedly wasn't that useful because there usually would be ammunition in the way of it. I guess there was no German OSHA. No, you gotta keep all emergency exits clear of obstructions. Well, you know, if there was German OSHA for the Wehrmacht, they definitely would be Nazis about that safety. Safety Nazis, literally. Let's not do that. Had quite a few people on here last night. I mean, late, like, well, we were up to like 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. Actually, I had to stop painting my T-34s. I got one T-34 done, and the other one needs to be weathered. And neither one of them are sealed because the weather just got too cold. I just didn't want to risk it. I was going on vacation, and they're still sitting on my desk, finishing up those two, and we're going to do another batch of painting when we're done building these guys. I'm trying to get as much of this stuff done then this morning because we got a working weekend. We got to take down Christmas stuff and this Christmas came and went way too fast. At least we had cold weather this time, as it's been Christmas here before. Christmas Day, and it's been 85 degrees, 86 degrees before. That's just not getting the spirit of that. There's like a wave in there. Is that supposed to have that? Is that going to be a pain in the ass later? We'll see if that causes trouble down the line. Almost looks like maybe it was mismolded. I don't want to have to get crazy glue out here or epoxy to glue this in place if I don't have to. All right. Oh, we wanted to polish up these diddlers a little bit. Just a little center mold line that's distracting there. Probably would never be noticeable. Okay, now this actually has one side that's flat. I bet this would go together without glue. Yep. All right. Well, I'm not going to let that stop me from gluing it. Just the fit on these things is just incredible. Why can't other people do this way? And the front also has a locator on it. Okay. Move to the other side. Okay. Now these hatches are going to open towards the back. Here's the locators. Seems kind of strange. It's not close to that. Nope, that's accurate. Okay. And the other one on the other side. This is the front. And they open backwards. They open towards the back. They open where you could hide. If you're under fire from the front, you could hide behind it to some degree. Not much, but something. Okay, that's complete. It says to put this on there before you attach it to here. That seems counterintuitive. Why would I not want to glue it on here first? I got trust issues. Running gear was great. All right, we'll do it their way first. The track should be like this. Oh, I see, because it's the top. I see, says the blind man. Oh, this piece is devoid of detail. That one there. Man, the fit on this is superb. Good morning, Kevin. Man, bright and early for you. Haven't seen you in a while. How you been? This should be the top. Well, that doesn't fit right. There we go. What if they put the tracks on backwards? The track pattern should be like this. Should be, it's narrower at the top and comes out. That's how it was on the other ones. I'm going to go ahead and check anyways, just to be sure. It most certainly does. It's narrower at the top, facing from the front. So this one, this one's correct. It's like that. This one, oh, I'm an idiot. The front towards the front, the front back towards the back. It could be made wrong. I could see them making it wrong. Easy thing to mess up. Easy thing to mess up to put together as a consumer too. This needs to be like this. Okay, perfect. Yeah, this cleat here, this one has detail. This cleat is almost devoid of detail. Holidays and things keeping you busy. Yeah, this holiday season came and went in no time. No time. Okay, cleats still going in the right way. This is a Panzer III. This is a Panzer IIIG from Plastic Soldier Company. This is something that I ordered on December 12th from a vendor that did not respond and ended up having to get this stuff from many other vendors, through some of the stuff through Amazon and this one through eBay in particular. This was from a vendor that's at Historicon, which I didn't pick up any of this stuff at Historicon. I was gonna say I probably should have. Nah, I did all right not buying from them at Historicon because I wasn't on the tank bandwagon yet. Just beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. The way their stuff goes together. That's why I'm not buying it. They can't build decent cars in the United Kingdom. They can build this stuff. This is from the United Kingdom. This thing makes Tamiya kits look like crap. Putting them together. And that's saying something. Sure we got the cleats going the right way. Yeah. Got 3 of these to do. They come 3 to a pack. And they just go together like a delight. Okay, now, can we put them on the hull? Yes. Okay. This is that side, and this is this side. Okay, the 50 Penn Sherman. This one, yeah, have to be really close. Obviously, we're talking about the front. Just about every tank side can be penetrated by everything. Yeah, maybe not reliably all the time, but I think I just read recently could go through 55 millimeters of armor at a 30-degree slope. Maybe not. Sherman, I think, actually has more than 50. I think that's what I read. I just read it literally a moment ago before coming online. But these never really fought Shermans. I mean, I'm sure they had some. Okay, this is looking like it's not lining up there. Well, doesn't match the hull. But then it wouldn't match the hull anyways if you flipped it the other way. Okay. The Shermans mostly encountered the Panzer IIIL. I'm sure there were some short 50s, but by the time Tunisia shows up, well, you got Shermans at Alamein. I think by Alamein, half of the Panzer IIIs would be long 50s. More so than long 75s. I think there'd be more short 75s than there would be long 75s at Alamein. But there'd probably be parity with the long 50s and the short 50s at Alamein. That's just my gut feeling. Almost like maybe 60% of the Panzer IIIs ought to be longs at Alamein. And Tunisia, what started showing up in Tunisia is this my least favorite Panzer III, which is the N, which has the short 75. I don't like it because it's kind of like, hey, here's this new tank, but we're going to use old technology. This is the first tank gun that we had on the Panzer IV. It's like, why are we just getting it now? I know why they got it, for HE support and stuff like that, but not a fan of that vehicle. Sits nice and flush. All right, what do we got now? Top hull, back plate, engine plate. These are definitely taking longer to build than the Czech 38s. And they're significantly larger than the Czech 38s. I mean significantly larger. Now, one thing is I would like to keep these on the same base size as these are, but if they're oversized, yeah, I could still do it. They're bigger, but they're not that much bigger. I don't know, they'll work fine side by side. I can deal with 1/76 scale stuff in the same unit. I'm sure I can deal with that. All right. We have something here that I don't know what it is. What's it described as? Is it even listed? Spare toolbox. Okay. It doesn't tell you where to put that. Even though it's shown up here. We're going to leave that off because we're going to customize stuff and make all three of them look different. Engine deck, and we got spare road wheels too. Engine deck, front plate, back plate, MG34 only attached on one end. Thank you. Really stressful to cut out those machine guns that are attached at both ends. Wondering which one's going to break under strain. Let's cut it way back here. There we go. Yeah, this plastic's kind of soft. And I like that. It's good for this. Okay. Some people say the Germans may have done better without the super tanks. Could be. Good thing they have the super tanks, right? The Germans could have done a lot worse. It's pretty amazing that they were able to do what they did, to be honest with you. This thing has no detail, but this is the smoke grenade launcher back here in the back. But it has no detail. There'd normally be little smoke grenades in there. I mean, look what they did in France. Try replicating that. Nobody thought that was going to happen. You know, how would the Russians have fared in Barbarossa had they not get their ass beaten by the Finns the year before and learned from it? You never know. It's a lot of cleanup on these. Not bad cleanup. It's just a lot of it in different. You know, I want to try to do a good job on these things. You know, once you put it together, that's it. You're done. But if you think about it, the Germans did well as long as they maintained air superiority. Every time that they had air superiority or parity, they did really well. Once they lost that, I mean, obviously there's other factors at play, but this one needs to be cleaned up. That's the one thing that's noticeably, is the distance here of these is really wide. The distance of the fenders. We've got to put it, we don't have to. We choose to put a crooked spider flag, probably on the Czech 38s, maybe on one of these as well. It only works if you put it the right way around. God, the fit is just the best, bar none. Just unbelievable. How well these go together. / how bad other people's go together. Now these also have years of perfecting this trade. I mean, these are relatively new models. They're not more than 5 years old, I don't think. So I'm sure they benefit from all the new technology. Just beautifully solid little thing. Mufflers go that way because I know, because that drawing is useless, it's facing the wrong way. And the machine gun goes on the non-British side. Machine gun goes like so. Is that it? One Panzer IIIG. It's slightly bigger than the other 1/72nd scale. I don't have a problem with them. I use them side by side. You know, this thing has, and you know, I got spare road wheels and stuff to add to it, so we can add those as well. We're going to do a little container here with the pieces parts. Let's get a little plastic baggie, cut these things out, and put them in that spare plastic baggie. So what do we have left over? We got these idler wheels. Okay. Got some jerry cans. Better off just using a knife for this. Got a couple jerry cans. Okay. We've got this toolbox. Okay. Which technically goes up here. We got spare track. We got this extra cupola open. And we got 2 tank commanders. Couple spare road wheels. We make all 3 of them different. And I don't really need the idler wheels. I'm not going to make any of these an H. And wishful thinking H, but I'll hold on to them. And this is just empty sprue, which I'm sure there's not an antenna included. Yeah, we'll end up putting an antenna here. It goes right in here. I like an antenna sticking up. It just adds something. Your Gale Force 9 Panzer III turrets are pretty much identical to Panzer IV turrets. Well, they're a little different. I don't know how the model is. You look at reviews of these kits, and just about everyone there's something wrong with it. So, I think dude, this is pretty solid, you know? Okay. Next. That's the spare water parts. Where do the other parts go? I guess I gotta put my glasses to find them. Underneath? Yep. Okay. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, and I think I'm still going to build them one at a time. All right, turret first. Right, turret parts. Okay, turret bottom. Turret doors. It's cut way back out here. Back storage box. Cupola. Man, it flexes out of nothing. You can see that breaking off real easy. Panzer III barrel. We're going to do this one with an open cupula. With this guy. I don't want the visor. That tends to be later war. It's all the turret stuff, right? Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. Every time I hear Gale Force 9, it reminds me of Fantasy Flight. I don't know why. I'm thinking maybe the vendor that has Gale Force 9 stuff also carried Fantasy Flight thing, and that's what it is. It seems like their marketing is similar. It's nice. It's nice marketing. Did Ben Waddy go away? I don't know. His parole officer didn't come by and say hi to me on his way in. It might be time for tea. I love tea. I just like it cold. I don't drink warm anything. He's back. Tea time's over. Yeah, I don't like warm anything to drink. Soup, that's about it. Do you drink soup or eat soup? Yes. So I like English tea. It tastes really good. It tastes a hell of a lot better than coffee. I'll be honest with you, the only reason I drink coffee is just to get shit done. I don't really care for the taste of it. Tea tastes a hell of a lot better, but it just doesn't have the caffeine. Caffeine, my drug of choice. Speaking of which, man, New York City is rampant with marijuana use, which I don't care, but man, I don't need to smell it. Bad, just everywhere. I didn't know it was legal when I went there. Not that would have kept me from going, but man. It's like a stampede of skunks. You saw a squirrel, got distracted. Yeah, it happens to me too. Was cleaning up my lunch, which included an iced caramel latte. Oh. That sounds good, but I get angry when I have sugar. I get angry when I have sugar and things go wrong. Should point that out. So, yeah, people get angry when they drink whiskey. Not me. I'm a hugger. Give me ice cream and things go wrong, we're going to fight. Yeah, that happens to me too. Like, I can't do this and have like the TV on or something like that. No squirrels in this part of Arizona. They get eaten. They ended up in tacos. They got eaten. You got tacos in Arizona? Rhetorical question. I'm sure if you don't have squirrels, there's some other kind of pest that's just as annoying as squirrels. They're just out with nothing to do other than cause problems. I guess they've got, that must be a rodent thing. Things that cause problems. You know? Down under it would be, you know, wombats. I was watching something on wombats a couple of years ago. I'm like, holy smokes. You get one of those that takes a liking. Look at this. Look at this punch that I got to fill in. That is a huge punch in the top of this barrel. And it's funny because this one doesn't have it. No. Just got to be something we got to fix. Not a big deal. Let's not do that. See if I can get away with not putting this on the X-Acto knife base. So we're definitely putting a crooked spider flag on one of the Czech 38s. We may do it on one of these as well. I don't know yet. I know you get in trouble on Facebook. Can you get in trouble with YouTube doing it? The problem is it's not considered what the context of doing it in is. You know. If context is considered, yeah, people who use it for the wrong reason should be getting in trouble. But it's just on a model, you know. There was an air show, I want to say it was in England, that I saw a video of recently. There's a video where they were comparing the differences between a 109, ME 109 and a 190. And they had two actual flying planes. You know, in 1-to-1 scale. And then what they had done on the tail is they had taken out the X part in the middle. So it was just four little the edges, so to speak. I guess that's better than just leaving the whole thing off. But kicking butt in my TOG this morning. I'm not sure about YouTube. They just released some new guidelines. I think those videos would just be demonetized. Yeah, we won't put them in there then. That's a pain in the ass. It's just easier not to even have them on video than try to read through guidelines. I don't have an attorney to read all that stuff for me. All right, let's see how this on here. Okay, this does not make a difference which way it goes, does it? Other than as long as it's towards the front, obviously, because these open sideways. Both of these the same. As far as I know, they won't ban the videos or hide them. You just won't get ad money from them. Well, I don't need to show Crooked Spider that badly. Now, I won't do this for the money, but it's just nice to know that it generates something that, you know, allows me to defer the costs of buying some of this stuff. I mean, it's not really that big of a deal, but, you know, I create something, and there's lots of controversial stuff on that they allow on there, so I don't want to get upset about my non-controversial thing getting demonetized and somebody else's purposefully controversial stuff not getting demonetized. All right, I think that's all the pieces that we have on here. Yeah, it's just going to find a swastika to kind of have a problem with it. It's not going to be worried about the context of it, you know. I could say every other sentence that these guys are rat bastards, and it wouldn't matter, you know. What you need to do is let the video be flipped, and they'll think it's a Buddhist symbol. Well, see, that's the thing. Isn't the flag flipped on the other side? You know, the standard way to read it is like an S, right? When it's an S, it's facing the right way. When it's like I guess it's like a Z, then it's the wrong way. But it's, if you have a flag, it's double-sided, so it would be on the other. It just looks wrong when it's a Z. I'm fine not putting in any videos. I mean, I'm not really giving that much up. I'm glad I don't do aircraft, because it's definitely necessary to put that on the tail of aircraft if you're going to do that. And I got a whole decal sheet back when I was doing models of just crooked spiders. You know, and you know, it's one of those things, you buy 30 of them and you use 2. So, because there was a couple of models that I had that didn't have any of them on there. There was one model from, I forget who the hell it was from, but they actually, what they did is they had split it in half. So when you put it together, you're the Nazi. They got around it by, you know, not doing that thing on there. But I just don't see what the point is. It's not like, you know, it's not like somebody's bringing these model kits and taking them to a white power rally or something like that. Maybe somebody is, I don't know. It just seems like a feel-good knee-jerk thing to do. Okay, we'll let that dry before we stick this Nazi bastard in here. Yeah, we'll paint him separately. I haven't pushed him all the way in. Finish symbol, same direction it was. Yeah, I bet you could ban for that one too. Isn't that a coincidence from hell that they used that same symbol? I mean, it's kind of an obscure symbol, to be honest with you. And so you got two nations that use the same one. Imagine if they were on opposite sides. That would be ironic. If the Finns had joined the Soviets, I guess they did in '44, but I don't think that they took an active part in going after German stuff. You know, and I can see it being banned. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. They did do some horrible stuff. But my only gripe is that you can go on Facebook and you could send all the memes you want with Stalin on them and they're okay. And they were both asshole buddies. So one just as bad as the other. Okay, So we've got, which is why I like the Eastern Front. Which bad guy do you want to be? Which bad guy do you want to play? Alright, here's the turret for that one. Is it running gear time? It is. I'll have to get that mod for the Gate to Hell or whatever it's called. I can never remember what the name of that game is. They have a fin mod. I know the Germans don't use the swastika on their in the game. It's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I wonder what they do with the fins. My guess is they probably use like a blue Balkenkreuz or something like that. I honestly don't know what they use. I guarantee they don't let them use a swastika. That would be... Doesn't matter who's doing it. It's the symbol is a problem for the banning. Okay, running gear. Again. You want to use the knife for that. The only thing I'm not excited about painting the Panzer crew is not their faces, it's the black uniform. And I can do it, I'm not excited about doing it. Just doesn't sound like it's any fun, let's put it that way. It's like when you gotta mow the lawn, you know you're gonna do a good job, but it's not gonna be fun doing it. Sounds like a good movie. What movie is that? Speaking of movies, I got sucked into watching them. I only seen the first one, and I know they're stupid. I got sucked into watching them. What's it called? Resident Evil movies. I watched one of them in flight. The one I had seen, the first one. You know, and all those type of movies are stupid, but then I watched the second one, which of course was dumber, and then the third one's not available on Netflix, so I gotta track it down. I figured, well, F it, let's just watch them all. Just never got around to seeing them. They got a VR game on that. I may be tempted to get that, but I'm afraid I'm gonna fail a couple of morale checks playing it, because that's jump scares and shit like that. I don't do really well with that. You're watching old clips of model soldiers on the British Path YouTube channel, and popped up a cartoon from 1939 about Hitler dancing to Stalin's tune. I still remember Gremlins from the Kremlin. Old Bugs Bunny cartoon. And one of my favorite ones, and you can't find it anymore, there's the Disney cartoons they had during the war. They had this cartoon that, Goofy goes dancing, or Goofy in sports, or Goofy whatever. And they had a Goofy joins the Navy. I remember that. And we had it on VHS. We recorded it. Back when things weren't, everybody didn't have a hard on for PC stuff. And there's this one scene where I wanted to show it to my daughter that something happens. Of course he's, a klutz and everything. He ends up getting fired out of a torpedo tube on a U.S. ship. And he ends up going into like the Japanese Navy, and all the Japanese ships have a face that looks like Hirohito on them, with the little glasses and everything, and the buck teeth. And so, you had like, I don't know, it was like a couple aircraft carriers and a battleship or cruiser or something like that. And they all had a face on them, kind of like Thomas the Tank Engine, right? That they have human faces on them. And I want to show that video is not available anymore. But that's how you win wars, is you dehumanize your enemy, or in that case, I guess humanize them. But anyhow, it's funny how we stop winning wars when we stop doing shit like that. But can't find that cartoon anymore. I don't have a problem with Japanese people. I love their stuff, but when they're trying to kill you, you kind of have to dehumanize them. But anyhow, I want to show that to my daughter. Can't find that video anywhere. Pre-war news was really weird in how they read the situation. Looking back, we all knew Hitler was going east, but I can see why so many were duped at the time. Yeah, I read something recently. I don't care to read many strategic type things. Strategic type books just don't interest me. You can't build scenarios with them, so I'm interested in tactical situations, that type of thing. But the strategic thing cropped up somewhere that, a lot of people couldn't figure out why Stalin made a deal with Hitler, that he was going to attack him. He was just building up time to attack him first, or that kind of stuff. But I read recently that he thought that the battle for France was going to last a lot longer and keep Hitler busy. And I said, well, that kind of makes sense. If you're Stalin, try to make a deal with him, build up your stuff while the guy's bogged down, because they are arch enemies, but yet they made a quote unquote deal. I just don't like reading stuff that's obvious propaganda from the Eastern Front. Both sides did a tremendous amount of it. All the stuff that we read as kids from the German generals is just bullshit. It's, a lot of it is. It's just self-serving bullshit. And, all the communist propaganda is, well, communist propaganda. What's to like about that? So, both sides are just horrible. just absolutely horrible. Don't make me pick sides. Who you like between the Germans and the Russians? The Poles. That's who. The poor bastards that got caught in the middle. I was reading the memoirs of Erhard Raus a couple of months ago, and I had to stop reading it because he's just like, he was like the best thing since sliced bread. Like, and he's like, everywhere he went, there was success. It was like, he was like the messiah of Panzer IIIGs. It's like, first of all, you're not the messiah of anything. Second of all, if there was more people like you guys would have won the war. So I'm glad there was only you. And you're full of shit, by the way. It's just way over the top stuff, And you get to be an adult, you start to question everything. When there's stuff that you think you had confidence in, and even that ends up being sketchy and has another agenda, you're like, everybody's full of shit, All right, we need to get a soda or something, because I am letharged. So let me take care of that, and I will be right back to continue working on the Panzertruppen. Be right back. I'd like to, at some point, think that I can do North Africa. Because I've always liked North Africa. It's a lot more World War One-ish as far as honorable. Seems that way. I'm sure there was atrocities done, but both sides are really interesting in that. Although I'm not looking forward to painting Africa Corps vehicles. Just something about it just doesn't appeal to me. I don't really like Germans in sand-colored vehicles, so I'd probably just do them gray and just sand them up like from the terrain, more than paint them like a sandy color and then weather from there. But the British are very cool. Just from the mix of vehicles that they used in Honeys and Cruisers and but I have zero infantry for that. Found a big PDF online for DAC stuff. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be online for free, but it comes up at the top of the list when Googling for DAC markings. There's a whole website on Operation Crusader, and it had like quantity of units, and I'm just working my way through the 8-hour spectacle that is Tick History's Operation Crusader Battlestorm series. And it's just, I really like that battle to begin with, and I'm 75% of the way through, and I like it even more. It is extremely interesting. It is extremely interesting. Both sides made some huge blunders. A lot of infighting between commanders on both sides. Really, really interesting. Have to build tens of vehicles that are destroyed, strewn about the city of Rizet airfield. Opportunity to build some 25-pounders, direct firing stuff. Really, 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 really interesting. To me, anyways. Different people find different stuff interesting. You know, just like I couldn't care less about doing Pacific War stuff. A lot of people are interested in it because their ancestors or people in their family served over there. Just it does not interest me at all. PDF online for DAC stuff. It's supposed to. Let's see if I see what you're talking about. Google DAC markings. Okay. All right. So we do a Google for DAK markings. And let's do all. Yeah, I don't think this is supposed to be free. One thing that I always think is really cool, you know, there's some things that always look, you see pictures of them, and some vehicles always look pretty cool. And unfortunately, the Nazi bastards are had some of the coolest stuff. If you look at page 4 of that guide, there's a cannon there, and I want to say that's a 170 millimeter German. Those cannons, those field pieces from that angle just look really, really cool. Those are some familiar pictures. Let's see what we got on here. All right. Well, we're going to have to save this. Yep. Motorcycles. Man, that's one thing I want to do is motorcycles. I want to do some motorcycle troops because, man, they're in a lot of scenarios. And that's not exactly how I'd want to go into battle. But that's apparently something that they did pretty frequently. And did the British tanks use diesel, or did they use gas in the desert? Because I read about the Germans would capture like a German British fuel stores. It wouldn't do them any good if they ran on diesel, because all German tanks were is that an Irish 4-leaf clover on that? A 4-leaf clover on a 223. Interesting. Yeah, see, I can get the look at those heavy armored cars by doing what I was talking about. Paint them gray and then just go over them. I'm going to have to do that at some point. Because everybody likes the Africa Corps stuff. And the Italians, too. The Italian stuff is really interesting. Yeah. This is a good link. Damn it, you're going to get me into doing Africa Corps. Well, the way I'll do it is I'll do the infantry first. And once I got a couple squads, then I'll be like, all right, now I'll allow myself to... there's Panzer I 833. That's a famous one. Like the medical officer gets his own Panzer II. But I want to do the 41 stuff. I want to do Crusader period. I don't care about doing Alamein stuff. Tunisia would be okay. But, you know, I don't want Germans with long-barreled 50s and long-barreled 75s. There's plenty of time for that later. Okay, this is a pretty cool thing. All right, we'll take a look at that later. Yeah. Oh, now I lost my thing here. Tank Museum video, they said only one British tank used diesel during the war. Someone said the early gray DAC vehicles were camouflaged by mixing mud with gasoline. Makes sense. But I would do a number on if you fired HE at them, right? Wouldn't that go off? But I guess paint is to some degree flammable in and of itself. Only one British tank used diesel during the war? Well, I know all the Shermans were diesel that the British got, or most of them. I don't know about the desert. A friend of mine was surprised that the German tanks weren't diesel. I agree, but they weren't. That's why Panthers were actually susceptible to catching fire. You know, once you penetrated them, they would brew up just like Shermans. Yeah, I'd make the Africa Corps stuff gray and then just heavily weather it. Heavily. But that's just my take on it, you know. That's how I want them to look. It's a video about British tanks, so it might have meant British manufactured tanks. Alright. You sent me down the rabbit hole. That's okay, that's how you learn stuff. So we're going to come up over here and we go, which British tanks in World War II used diesel? Russians used diesel. Americans, Germans, and English used petrol. This is just somebody's comment. It's strange that the Germans would use petrol instead of diesel, considering diesel have the advantage of using less fuel consumption and more reliability. I agree. I mean, diesel's a freaking German name. Why wouldn't they be the ones using it? Just saying. Interesting stuff. Didn't know that. Interesting. I'm going to have to look at that. There's some interesting commentaries about things that I don't know a whole lot about. French had electric tanks. I don't know about the... They weren't around. They weren't on the field long enough to worry about them. Another reason I wouldn't do France is not because the French tanks aren't cool or French infantry wouldn't be cool to paint. It just lasted like 3 freaking weeks. And the German tanks that fought over there look stupid with their no turret storage behind them. And the Panzer IIs look just fine without the turret thing on them. But 3s and 4s look stupid, in my opinion. And it's got nothing to do with the French. I hate the French just as much as everybody else. No, I didn't say that right. I hate the French as much as every other country. That's what I meant to say. No, the French tanks are actually pretty freaking cool. You know? Well, they had the best tanks to a degree. From a micro armor standpoint, from a stats standpoint, yeah, they had the best tanks. But, you know, they didn't have radios. They had one-man turrets. That's a deal breaker right there, a one-man turret. But that French 47 was like the best gun, you know? The French 47 is like an S-35. That's like the best gun at the time period. Am I going to do a 1/72nd Goliath? Only after I do the Russian mine dogs. I've never built a model of a Goliath. God, that thing would be very big. I was talking to the guys the other night when I came over, and I was talking about the tank game. I said, you know, he's got a 4x8 table, and it looks really, really big, right? But even with a 4x8 table, a Panzer III with a flamethrower can shoot like the flame like 2 feet away or something like that. It's like deadly, you know? Love from France. Hey, look, you used one of the symbols that they have on the French tanks. The French tanks were cool, man. They had like spades or clovers, hearts on them. What's not to like about a tank with a heart on it? It's just coming in for a hug. Welcome back, Johan. I got a friend of mine who hated every single thing French, but yet he didn't know anybody from France. I don't get it, you know? If you're French, as long as you wear deodorant, I don't dislike you. And that goes people from other countries too. Please put on deodorant. Better have individual links on them bad boys. On electric tanks? As a matter of fact, it's a lot of French tanks made by a company called S Model, and their S Model stuff is really, really nice. So, there's two things against me doing France in 1940. I don't like like I said, I don't like the German tanks without the little storage compartment on the back. They look stupid. And I don't like the ideas of, it's a infantry heavy game. I don't like the ideas of like a German squad not having submachine gunners for the squad leaders. And in 1940, they weren't common. You still had corporals and stuff running around with rifles. So then you got, it's kind of like World War One. You've got most of the people in the squad, or almost everybody in the squad, save the light machine gunner that's running around with a carbine. That's just a little bit kind of boring. Now I do like the earlier paint scheme on the uniform with the gray pants and the greenish tunic. I think that looks good, but it'd be cool to paint some French troops. Now, French-wise in World War II, I had a lot of French Navy. I had a lot of French Navy stuff. Those ships were beautiful. And the Italian ships. Both of those navies just have some gorgeous vessels. Didn't matter, they sat in port. They might not have. And then you get to use them in scenarios. What if stuff. On the Goliath. That's how you become the master modeler. You know, if they're cast well, it's okay. You know, I could do it. Australian Tank Museum working on a Tiger now. New show every Wednesday. A Tiger 1? I'm not a fan of the Tiger 1. A lot of people like, are like anti the Bismarck because it's overrated. And that's how I feel about the Tiger One. I think the Tiger One is overrated. I think part of the reason I'm not a fan of the Tiger One is, as a modeler, I'm used to following the units. And I don't care about those independent tank battalions as 503rd and 504th and 501st. I don't like that organization. It just doesn't appeal to me. Oh, this is the wrong one. Oh, I'm holding it backwards. Jeez Louise. Okay. There we go. So I think that's part of the reason that I don't really care for them. There's a couple divisions that had them intrinsically, but you know, it just doesn't really appeal or organization to them. Of course, I say that, and I'm not putting unit designations on any of my tanks, but I do have a Tiger 1 to do. It's a late one. Australian Tank Museum. Yet all the tanks here in the U.S. have now been between the ones at Aberdeen, which I never got a chance to see, either got moved to Fort Lee, that's not open to the public, or Fort Benning, that's also not open to the public. Like, that's a dick move right there. I would love to go to both of those places. And maybe one day it will be open to the public, but it just kind of pisses me off. I think they did it on purpose. They didn't want me going there and telling them what was wrong with their tanks. So I did watch the video where the chieftain ends up going to, who's really knowledgeable, but I don't know that he'd be that, I don't think he's fun at parties. I just think he's a little dry for my taste. He knows his shit, or at least he knows his script or whatever. I mean, he probably knows the stuff. He's a tank guy. But he's just kind of dry for my taste. I've watched a lot of his videos, though. But his delivery is just not down my alley. I prefer somebody like Lindy Beige. I like Lindy Beige a lot. He's a hoot. He'd be fun to game with, I think. He's a bit too clinical, let's put it that way. So I did watch a couple of walkthroughs that he did, where one of them was he went to the Fort Benning one, and the other one was he went to a museum that they have in Finland. Didn't the American with a big tank collection pass away? I don't know. There is a museum in Danville, Virginia, which is right on the border between North Carolina and Virginia. And it is a private museum, and it's called something like Army Armored Force Museum or something like that. But it's only open on Fridays and Saturdays. No, it's only open on Saturdays and Sundays. because I wanted to. That was one of the things I wanted to hit with Mitch on the way back, either to Historicon or on the way back or something like that. But just the days that it's open is just not useful to be able to make it with that trip, and that's a private collection. And they have a lot of stuff there. I think it's just like a big garage. I don't think it's climate controlled or anything, but they have a lot of things there. I mean, they have like, I want to say like 100 vehicles or something like that. They have some absurd amount of vehicles. But again, it's not open on a day that's conducive to us being able to combine it with somewhere. It's so far away that I'm not going to make a special trip to go out there. It's not a big deal. You know, you can go online, look at all videos of all these vehicles if you really wanted to. It's not like the old days where you needed to see them in person and stuff like that. It's just annoying that those of us that are really into that stuff can't get access to it. That's all. But then you can go to Gettysburg, which, well, you can't now because it's under construction, but which I couldn't care less about. You know, I don't care about Civil War stuff. This one's not sitting 100%, so we just need to put this on here for a little while and let it become one with the running gear. We're going to go ahead and dribble some of this stuff on here as well. Try to get a good fit. Been to D-Day Museum? I have not. It's in the wrong place. I've only been to New Orleans once, and it was like 1987. I've not been back since. And it's just not worth it to make a special trip for that. You know, vacation time is extremely limited. Forget cost. I don't get that many days off. And I've been maxed out for years. Okay. Do we have little side things? We do. Okay. Now we need to put the engine deck here. And the rear plate. The MG34. Front plate. Cannot make an H out of this. You'd need an up-armored plate on top of that. And that's it. The rest is all spare stuff that we're going to use to customize them, so. I also have not been to the Marine Corps Museum that's in Quantico. Heard that might be kind of cool. That's technically a place we could hit on the way up for Historicon. I just don't like going through that high kind of security. Not because I have anything to fear. I just don't like being questioned by people who have a worse record than me. Not a fan. got nothing to hide. They won't find anything on me. I don't like being treated by crap by people who, like when I flew out the other day, there was one of the other lines where people were putting this TSA stuff. This one guy was like a guy who couldn't make it in the Marine Corps or something like that. Because he was just giving people just like a load of shit about how to put their stuff on the conveyor belt, and just he was in war mode for no reason whatsoever. It wasn't even that busy. It was like his purpose in life was just to be a dick. And I'm like, I don't want to put up with that kind of stuff, It's one thing if you misbehave and you get in a talking to, but when people just go nuclear just from the get-go, I just have a problem with that, Especially when we're dealing with families and stuff like that. So I dread going through security because of having to deal with people's attitudes. Not that they're going to find anything on me. If they found something on, they'd be knocking me out, knocking on my door already. Okay, let's see. This thing's sealed already. All right, let's glue this guy together. If you're going to treat me like a piece of shit, I get to be the piece of shit first. I don't get to behave and then you treat me like a piece of shit. It doesn't work that way. Not in my world. So if I'm courteous and behave well, I don't expect to be treated like a sack of garbage. Maybe that's too much to ask, but that's Tony's rules. I do like that this thing dispenses with spending all the time putting the horn and shit like that on there. That's just time consuming and could break off. Anyways. This old newscast from 1939 I'm watching was trying to name the Polish, French, and British alliance as the Axis of Peace. Imagine if that had caught on. I wonder what we would call the bad guys. The allies of anger. Man, the poor Poles got screwed. Axis of Peace. Okay. Mufflers go down here on this back plate. Okay, front plate. And I was a kid, I'd get fingerprints on this stuff all the time, and it rarely happens now. I got tools and stuff that help you avoid, hopefully, do those kind of mistakes. See what it looks like with a little Nazi bastard up there. I know they weren't all Nazis. Well, this guy is. We're going to make him a bad guy. I think these look pretty darn good. Now, we got a filler to do there, but we'll do all the filling, and we'll finally get a chance to try this Vallejo putty, which I got about a month ago and done nothing with it. Here's your chance. Excellent. Okay. Can we get the third tank knocked out? No, we'll see. Let's get all these spare parts off here. I really shouldn't put stuff like this on the right-hand side of myself. Susceptible getting knocked off. Jerry cans. Spare track. I might even be tempted to make some rags and packs and stuff out of green stuff and put them on there, just to make them all three of them different. Don't have to do a bunch of them, just a few. You know, there's a company called, I want to say Black Dog. They're out of the UK, and they make a lot of these extra accessories and stuff to make the vehicles look very gypsy caravan-ish. But they're expensive. Like for one vehicle, it's like $25 or $20 or something like that. It's probably like $25 once you add the shipping in. It's just too much. You know, it's not a smart decision. I don't know what I'm going to do with the extra cupulas, but they're there. Okay, last one. Know the drill, turret time. Make sure this is closed up. Turret bottom, turret top. Storage. Wow, the worst safety glasses, keep that up. And this one also has a notch there for the that will need to be patched. This is a closed cupola. Only one commander out of 3. That's a plenty. Especially since they're going to be driving around crew they're going to be driving up buttoned up at these ranges anyways. Now, most of the fighting is going to be under 200 meters, so almost all the fighting is under 200 meters, so you don't need to be unbuttoned when you could get taken out by just anybody. All right, again, this is the, okay, it's already bending that way. Let's go the other way. I'm concerned about how delicate that is. It's already showing signs of displacement. That's the turret pieces. All right, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves and just focus on this right here. There's El Sander. I was really wanting to play Gates of Hell Ostfront last night. I'm glad I didn't, because, man, I kicked a lot of ass. Can always play that after I've given the units vehicles a wash and I'm waiting for it to dry. Now I just need to get some Panzer IIIGs that don't cost an arm and a leg, or Ds. The armor cast ones, unfortunately, look like they're devoid of a lot of details, so that's probably not the right way to go. I think I'm going to end up getting the Mirage ones from Poland. I wouldn't mind trying my hand at building some of those paper buildings this weekend at some point, and just seeing how, if that's the way forward, or we're going to need to do hard plastic buildings for. Only reason I'm trying those paper buildings is I already have them. I gotta decide whether they're worth fooling with or not. This is wet, dry sandpaper. It's pretty smooth there. Okay, perfect. All right. That's all done. This is the hatch. Let's switch this out. Where's the good one? Here. Go ahead and draw the end of this thing. Get the wish I could watch movies or something like that where I did this, but I can't. So I appreciate you guys keeping me company. Maybe I'm doing the same for you. See how we're looking at that from the top. Wish there wasn't so much flash on the front of this thing. They're not really big marks, but let's remove them if we can. It's better than the barrel being two halves. of the top, and the top is the bottom. Good morning, folks. For those of you just joining us, this is the third Plastic Soldier Company Panzer IIIG. And I discovered while building the set that it supposedly can build G's or H's, and you can't really build an H from this. If you think you're building an H, you're just fooling yourself. They give you a different idler wheel, but the most prominent thing on it, even more than the idler wheel, I would think would be the applique armor on it, and it just doesn't have it. It just doesn't include it. So you're not really getting an H. Which doesn't really matter that much to me. I just figured I'd mention it. I think that's probably actually a bigger deal to me than it being oversized. And it is pretty big, oversized. Especially this the size of the cupola. It's pretty darn big. Let's make that sure that dot faces that back rear. Have that centered. Okay. And then the door hatches, big tall piece goes towards the back. And make sure the periscope that has most of the meat is at the top of the periscope, not on the other one. If it has most of the meat on the bottom, you need to flip it. The door needs to go on the opposite side. Stuff they don't tell you in the instructions. We have no plans to use turret numbers that go over this vision slot, but I may end up having to do that. Okay, this worked out really well, just putting the glue on here. Sure it sticks up a little bit past the back of the turret. Running gear time. I did go to a legitimate hobby store when I was up in Connecticut last week. A legitimate hobby store, like it was stacked with stuff. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, there was mostly 1/35th scale stuff, and I mean they had a lot of stuff in there, and but I think they smoked in there, so the place smelled like an ashtray. So I didn't spend a whole lot of time in there exploring, because I didn't want to come back to the car and smell like, you know, I hadn't kicked the habit. But it was a legitimate hobby store, like old school, like, well, it wasn't old school. The place was really well organized, but it was stacked full of stuff. It wasn't like, we don't have this or we don't have that, or they only had about 8 things in 1/72nd scale, and it wasn't anything I wanted. So after I saw that they didn't have anything, I'm like, I'm just going to order my own stuff. This is stuff I had ordered from a vendor that never responded to me. And I put an order in on December 12th, and I still haven't heard from him. Which, like I said earlier, is very unusual in this day and age to give bad customer service to people in this hobby, because there's not that many people in this hobby. You can't piss off. You piss off one guy, that guy might be somebody that buys 16 kits from you. It's not like you can just go to the regular public. And it's something people have to have. A lot of people don't even know about this stuff. Wargaming and such. So I also went to one store in downtown New York called the Red Caboose. I think Steve recommended we go there. And I'm like, I'm not going to have time. And I was able to escape. It was very close to where I was staying. And I went in there, and it's the tightest store I've ever been in. Could almost not even turn around. And of course, we're wearing jackets and coats and stuff like that too, because it was in the 30s outside. But it was mostly trains. They had a few 1/35th scale stuff, and I haven't built a 1/35th scale model in about 30 years, and have no intention in building another one. There's no point in me building a model and doing nothing with it. These at least can see the tabletop, see some action. This one's pretty much free of flash. I saw a video or pictures. I think it was pictures that somebody had done of an unboxing of the S model Panzer IIs that I have, that I built a couple months ago. It turned out really well, but I was disappointed that the decals that came with them, there were some yellow numbers that ended up looking orange, but in the picture those were yellow. So I think I may have just gotten a bad batch of them, which is a shame because I would have liked more yellow numbers. I'm not putting orange numbers on my German tanks. That looks inherently wrong completely. So, oh, missed one right there. The other thing I could do is just put like something that won't mix with this, and like some metal things in there to raise the level of the glue in here, because it's getting really close to the water line. Or like I said, just buy another one, pour it in there, so we have one that's really full, and then use the empty container to put the orange stuff, the micro weld, because the secret is the applicator. I don't know that glue works any better than a micro weld, but the applicator, this little brushy thing, is amazing. Okay. Escape hatches open towards the front, which means this one needs to open this way. I did one model where the side escape hatches did not have any location pegs, and that needed to be worried about how that was going to work out. All right, let's part these out. These go this way, so is this the bottom? Yes, it is. Is this the top? No. So this must be the top. Yes, it is. Okay. These things actually work great. They're some of my daughter's hair ties here. They're just rubber bands. The other thing that actually works really well, I just didn't have any, pipe cleaners. Pipe cleaners work really well because you can wrap around them and then you can tighten them to whatever tightness you want them. And they work really, of course they're dirt cheap. Those work pretty well as well. Just didn't have any of those. Okay, it's the bottom, the top. This is the top. It's funny that one of the things that I thought was really tedious way back when was to paint all the road wheels, and I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. Not compared to all the 15mm tedium stuff that I do. It actually isn't bad. No, you don't be laying down on the job. This one's tighter for some reason. Okay, what's next? Obviously this goes on the hole, so that's going to have to wait. Oh, hold on 1 second. All right. The other humans are awake. We need to wrap this up. Should be done in 15 minutes, and then all 3 Panzer IIIs will be done, along with all the other kits that I got yesterday and the day before. And then we can look at some details, make each one of them individual. At another time. This is in the wrong place. back plate. Front plate. Machine gun. That's it, right? Yeah, that's all the parts that need to go on there. How long have we been on here? 3 hours and 15 minutes? It's about 45 minutes to a model. Something like that. You know, not a race, and got to clean things up on them. That's pretty much ready to go. Going all the way through this piece. Got my money's worth out of that piece of sandpaper. We'll ditch it when we're done with this tank. So I just cut off a little piece. Okay. And here. I wish I could put divisional markings on these, but I'm not going to. Because then it would be... I found a site, and I forget what it is, but it's one that actually tells you the beginning of Barbarossa, how many tanks were in each Panzer division. Whether they were Panzer IIs, 3s with a 37 millimeter gun, Czech 38s or 35s, how many Panzer IVs. The 4s are almost all going to be either F1s, E's, or D's. And which ones had the Panzer Is? Because I do have a Panzer I model that planning on doing it for Barbarossa. There's quite a few of them during the invasion. I figured there'd be like 80 or something like that. Oh no, there's hundreds of them in June of 41. And they tell you what unit they're in. But I don't want to commit to these being in certain stuff. Like obviously none of the units that have Panzer IIIs have Czech 38s. But the units that have 38s, they have the the one company of the Panzer IVs. Like all the Panzer divisions have anywhere between 20 and 25 Panzer IVs. Okay, this should be good to go now. All right. This is the front, so this one goes here. should fit on there nicely, and it does. Kind of nice to be able to, I've already put this thing together twice before, so. Really, really goes together really well. There you have it, Panzer IIIG. So this morning we built 1, 2, 3 Panzer IIIGs. We left some of the details off. We'll cut those off and put them in the box there because we got extra tracks and stuff that we're gonna do. We're gonna make all 3 of them different. It's a 2 box, supposedly comes up here, an extra wheels and stuff like that. Put antennas on them. So these are the 3 from Plastic Soldier Company. I did the unboxing. And here's the Czech 38s that we did last night. We finished up last night. Very diminutive. Where's the other one? Oh. And I do have 2 more unboxings to post, even though I've already painted them. I mean, I haven't painted them, I already built them. I did those last night as well, so I was on a tear. And that was the Pegasus T26s, which actually went together really well, even though they look like shit. They're glossy, and the plastic is extremely brittle. The barrels are, I didn't bother drilling them out. So, and the BT7s from, also from Pegasus. So this is what we got in. What I had ordered was this, and instead of these 2, I had ordered the pack of the KV1 and KV2, and they never came in, so they're apparently hard to get a hold of, but more Barbarossa 41 stuff. So, yeah, these are going to have big turret numbers on them, or, you know, as big as the side, which isn't that big considering they're kind of short, but got a couple figures to put with them. And anyhow, good stuff coming up ahead, but basically in 2 days I knocked out all these, so that was a lot of fun. Now I just got to customize them. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for coming along for the ride, and yeah, there'll be some more 1/72 goodness, and we'll catch you guys the next time.